I'm so sorry for keeping you all waiting. I apologize. Rip through some stuff here real quick. The gate tonight, Canadian, was $11.5 million, US $12.75 million. The attendance was 55,724. The bonuses were $129,000. Aren't we clever? Fight of the night was Aldo and Hominick. Knockout of the night was Machida. And sub of the night was Pablo Garza. Randy Couture is in the hospital. George St. Pierre is in the hospital. Neither one of them will be here. Sure you're happy to hear that too. I'm late and he's not here. Who's first? Kev? That thing just scared the shit out of me. I can't hear a word you said. Say that again?
I wanted to ask you about the final round on Hominick, and if you can kind of comment on Hominick after all the adversity he faced throughout the fight, coming back and doing what he did in the final round.
Yeah, no, he was incredible. First of all, this takes nothing away from how awesome Jose Aldo is, and he'll be down here in a minute. You know, this guy is one of the pound-for-pound best in the world. I thought this. I said it before the fight that I thought this was going to be the fight of the night. I think this kid has a ton of experience, a ton of heart, and that he was going to come out and try to win that title tonight. And he put on a gutsy performance, man. You know, he's a tiny guy with a huge heart. It was an awesome performance, you know, and many of us, you know, many of you guys too, have been around the fight business for a long time. That kid didn't want that fight stopped. I think the doctor did a great job tonight in checking the eye and making sure his peripheral vision was good. And then Hominick came out and went after it in that last round. It was awesome. Loved it.
For Jake, please. Jake, obviously you came up a little bit short tonight, but can you talk to us about how you felt in there, how you felt the fight played out?
Yeah, obviously I'm not happy. I mean, I went in there and came short. You know, I just George's great stand-up and kept me away. I couldn't get him down. He did a great job of stuffing my shots. So I guess I got to go back, work on my boxing, and get better. And hopefully before I retire, I'll get another shot.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the game plan going in? Because as you said, it didn't seem like you were working for the takedown maybe as much as we thought you would. And were there any adjustments made as time went on, or was it just plan A the entire time?
You know, I wanted to take him down. I don't know. He stuffed my first couple shots, and I don't know why I started boxing him. I should have started shooting it. Just, you know, it's easy to look back now and be like, man, I really screwed that up. But you know, George is a great fighter, so he fought great. He was so evasive. I couldn't get in on him, and he did a great game plan.
And you did end up claiming a couple rounds on the scorecards. Did you feel that had happened, or were you? Did you think you'd been shut out?
I felt like I had took 2 rounds, but I wasn't really sure. You got to watch it to know. I don't know, you know.
Dana, right over here.
Yeah.
What is Randy in the hospital for?
Let me see. Randy has been taken to the hospital for a checkup. You know, he got his head kicked off. You know, he went in there to get his head jacked out. He thought he got hit with a punch.
Yeah. Did he get a tooth knocked out tonight?
Yeah. Well, I went up into the octagon to talk to him. I said, "You all right? You all right?" You know. And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, he hit me in the tooth, and his tooth fell out while he was showing me." I said, "That's all right. We'll get you a new one, a better one than that, when we get back to Vegas."
Did you catch the tooth? Or
I tried to catch it, but he got it. Thank God.
He caught it.
Yeah.
So he still had the reaction, catch it. What was your thoughts and maybe your emotion when it was over and the fans were screaming for him, and it just seemed like the whole place was trying to tell him what it meant? How did you feel watching a guy that you have such respect get that moment?
No, it was awesome because before you know, the pre-fight press conference that I did with you guys, I said, you know, I don't think we celebrate Randy Couture enough. You know, this guy, everybody went crazy when George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore at his age, and he was on the cover of everything. This guy's 47 years old, and he's still fighting with these 20-something-year-olds. He still trains with all these guys. He's an amazing human being. And, you know, to see him, you know, I think, you know what I was saying before the fight, you know, I think Randy should retire too. It's a perfect time to retire. He went out on a high. You know, he went 7 minutes with Machida, it's still a big deal when you're 47 years old. I was just signing autographs with the fans, and my back is killing me, man. And I'm 42. So to go in there and fight Machida at 47 and to be able to do the things this guy can do, he's an incredible human being. He's been a great ambassador for this sport. He's been incredible for the brand, and I love Randy Couture.
Hey Dana, Rudy Blair, 680 News, over on this side. Keep looking. Keep
All right,
there
gotcha.
we go.
There you go.
3 quick questions. One, and I apologize for this one. Could you repeat the numbers again, please? I was still trying to hook up my machine.
Glad you asked, because I screwed it up the first time and I wasn't going to correct it. Canadian, 11.5 million. US, 12.075, not 12.75.
Fantastic. The other 2 questions. 2, how do you feel now that this whole event is over? How do you feel about this overall journey that you've had to go through to bring you here to Toronto? And the 3rd question, when do you think you're going to come back to TO?
It's been incredible. It's been a long time in the works. A lot of planning went into this thing. You know, I told you guys that this was going to be different than any other event. I mean, just the screens and the rigging and all the things that we put together for this event made it the biggest event, literally the biggest event, not just money-wise, but the biggest event ever done here. So I'm pretty proud of what we did, and I love this place. The fans here are incredible. The media is great. It's been a great experience. We'll be back. Are you kidding me? Of course we're coming back. Be back next Saturday if we could.
Hey Dana, Jamie Tawil, AM 640 Toronto, down here in the front.
Cool.
Just a question with regards to the main event. Some boos in the crowd. Were you at all disappointed at that result? It was a tough act to follow, following the Dominic Aldo fight. But and a follow-up to that, do you think any criticism of George's inability to finish again, going to a decision, is warranted?
It was a great card. I mean, all these guys. The first 2 fights of the night, I go, oh man, that could be the knockout of the night. And then the next fight of the night, I said, oh, that could be the submission night, which it ended up being submission night. And the card was great all the way through. Listen, one of the things that if you watched Prime Time and you educated yourself during this fight, this guy's no joke. This guy's been unbeaten for a very long time. 6 years, 15 straight fights. He comes out of a very serious camp. All the guys in that camp are champions. And George St. Pierre knew what he was up against tonight and got ready for it and trained hard. And do I wish that there was fireworks and these two were standing in the middle of the cage, blasting each other, and somebody ended up, he got his back and somebody got choked. All that stuff's great, but that isn't, it doesn't always play out that way. And I know George is going to be the one that catches all the stuff that he didn't finish another fight, but George is fighting the absolute best guys in the world.
A lot of electricity during the Rory McDonald-Diaz fight. I was curious to get your take on who you might have in mind for Rory's next opponent.
I don't know, but yeah, the kid looked great, and going out there and beating a kid like Nate Diaz it's tough to do, and he looked great.
Marcus with Unedited from Sweden. First question is for Jake Shield. When you came out and you were boxing with GSP, looking at his face, obviously looked like you were doing some damage. Did you feel that you were able to stand and bang? Your hands had improved a lot, but did you feel like you were getting the better of him?
At some points, some points he was getting better than me, some points I was getting the better of him. I think later on I started feeling like I was getting him better, but obviously I have a ways to go. I'm really going to go back and really start focusing on my boxing, because usually I get people down, and George is able to stop my takedown defense. So obviously, I've worked on it some, but I'm really going to focus on it now, and hopefully my next fight will look completely different.
And for Aldo, in the last round, you were on your back. Did you feel confident that you had won the fight, or were you somewhat exhausted towards the end of the 5th round?
Na última luta, você estava estava deitado, e você estava cansado, ou você já estava sabendo que você ia ganhar a luta?
Sabia que tinha ganhado já os 4 rounds e bem, né? Então, tava ali mais esperando, eu tentei encaixar uma guilhotina no final, não encaixei, então, já que eu tava ali, não tinha perigo nenhum, tava me sentindo muito bem confortável ali na posição.
Yeah, I was very comfortable in the position. I knew that I won the first 4 rounds. I tried to secure a guillotine. I was unable to do that, so I was just holding on and to finish the fight.
Last question for Machida. That's the second front kick to the face from Blackhouse. How much credit goes out to Steven Seagal for that?
Com certeza, né? Ele falava bastante para mim, eu tenho que usar muito esse chute que ele entra. Então, com certeza ele tem uma parcela aí de contribuição muito grande.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he always reinforced that to me that, try that kick will land, and when it lands, it'll work. So, I definitely give credit for him to helping me, just perfect that kick.
Dana, over here. The crippled guy over here.
Yeah.
Two questions. First thing, we talked a lot leading up to the fight about the 55,000 people, the fact that it was going to be the biggest ever. But what was your reaction once all the people were in their seats behind you and you got to hear the full magnitude of what this event itself brought to the city of Toronto economically and everything this week?
Yeah, when the fights, for every fight that we do everywhere around the world, I sit in my room and watch the prelims on TV, and then I come out right before the pay-per-views, and everybody that was coming back kept telling me, wait till you go out there, it's incredible. And we've had a lot of milestones throughout the last 10 years, and this is a big one. I was very excited for this fight. I was very happy and impressed with the way that everything went tonight. I felt like we delivered. We pulled off our first stadium show, and I feel very confident we could do it again. As far as how this impacted the city economically, what's different about a UFC event than any other event, whether you got a Britney Spears concert or the local hockey team or whatever it is, people flew in from all over the world for this event. The ticket sales from this event, people from every continent, from everywhere in the world except Antarctica, which pisses me off. Apparently we have no fans in Antarctica, but and every state from the United States bought tickets from this for this event. So it was a truly global event. It was big, and I'm sure your city kicked some serious ass financially.
Well, lastly, you did impress me, which is very hard to do, as you know, so congratulations on that too. And this was the first event with your new start time of 9 o'clock. What were your thoughts on that? Were you happy with it? Or are you going to still tweak it and have to go back to the drawing board a little bit, or what?
Listen, hopefully everybody knew that the time changed, but we took a poll and people wanted the time to change on the East Coast because the fights were going so late, so they got what they wanted. We're going to stick with this. It's a little tough when you have the same time for 10 years and then you change times, but hopefully it didn't cause too much problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Dana, Darcy from Team Radio in Vancouver. Bit of a premature question for you over here to your right there a little bit. You kind of led me into it though with your last statement talking about a successful stadium show. You're out in Vancouver in June. Any thoughts of next time coming back, possibly the newly remodeled BC Place?
Is that in Vancouver?
Yes, sir. I guess that might be a no to that question.
Well, no. Here's the thing. We always thought that we could do very well the first time that we ever came here to Ontario, and we just didn't know how well. I told you before the press conference, I thought maybe 30, 32. We blew it out. It was great. I think there's going to be certain fights that we can do in stadiums, and we'll just have to feel it out and see what we can do. I don't think every time we come to Canada we're going to be able to do a stadium show. I wish. That would be great.
Quick thing for a couple of the guys. Ben, yesterday at the weigh-in, little overweight, you had to cut a little bit extra. It seemed to have no effect on you in the cage today. How did you feel?
I felt great. Just had to lose an extra little half pound. Took me like 15 minutes to get it off. Sucks just because it took me 15 minutes to get rehydrated, but it was no problem and no effect in my fight at all.
And finally, quickly for Jose, obviously, from what I've seen, probably the toughest fight of your career. Does it make you kind of rethink your position as the champion, knowing you're going to have some tougher challenges now that you're fighting inside the octagon?
Pareceu que essa foi a luta mais difícil da tua carreira. Isso muda o teu pensamento de aonde você fica nessa categoria?
Não. Acho que todas as lutas para mim, desde o início, sempre foram as mais difíceis. Eu nunca destaco nenhuma luta. Eu acho que o treinamento é igual. E sempre vai ser para todas as lutas. Eu acho que essa foi mais a luta para provar que assim como eu consigo fazer um round e nocautear rápido, eu também consigo fazer 5 rounds bem.
No, I don't feel that at all because every one of my fights are difficult. I respect all my opponents and I prepare for all of my fights the same way. So I think this fight tonight just showed that I'm not only a guy that can knock people out quick, but I have the heart to go all 5 rounds and still hold on.
Right here.
Don't
You've been
worry.
waiting.
Não. José Aldo, eu só queria que você falasse um pouco sobre, enfim, você acabou de responder a pergunta que eu ia fazer, mas sobre o fato de você estar aqui com toda a torcida muito a favor do Mark, ele sendo um adversário difícil para você, ele mostrou, enfim, muita garra até o fim da luta, mas eu queria que você falasse sobre a dificuldade de lutar com um cara que está em casa e que batalhou até o fim.
The question was is that you know, to be fighting against such a tough guy in his hometown, and what was it feeling like going through such a war in enemy territory?
O Mark é um grande lutador, né? Eu sabia que ia ser uma batalha grande. Eu acho que tanto eu como ele tinham um poder de nocaute na mão. E onde que um errasse podia acabar a luta. Mas o Mark segurou, dei uns 3 knockdowns dele na luta e ele resistiu bem. Então, tranquilo, estava preparado para isso. Se eu não conseguisse uma finalização, um nocaute rápido, fazer os 5 rounds bem.
The way I felt is that I never underestimated Mark Hominick. I knew that he was a tough guy, and I knew that he had heavy hands, and that if one of us moved, you know, made the wrong move, either one of us could have been knocked out. But I tried to mix it up, take him to the ground. If I couldn't submit him or I couldn't knock him out, I knew that I was able to go all 5 rounds very strong.
Acho que se for 55 mil, 60, 70, essa é a minha vida. Eu amo estar ali dentro, eu gosto de estar ali dentro. Então, se tiver um público maior ainda, eu quero estar no evento presente.
He said, it doesn't really matter if there's 30, 40, 50, 80,000 people. This is what I love to do, and you know, this is what I live for. So yeah, I hope that if they have a bigger event someday, I'll be fighting on it too.
Question for Jake over here on the left. Jake, did you know that GSP's eye was bothering him that much?
I saw it swell up a little bit, but I didn't know he couldn't see out of it. But
in your opinion, what exactly happened?
I punched him in the eye.
Sounds pretty accurate. Thank you. Question for Jose. Going into the fight, Mark said that he will hit you harder than you have ever been hit before. Was that true?
Entrando na luta, o Mark Hominick falou que ele ia te bater, te dar soco como você nunca recebeu um soco. Isso é verdade?
Isso aí eu acho que faz parte, né? Como eu converso com o Anderson, até papagaio fala, mas quando tá ali dentro... Ui! Quando tá ali dentro a gente vê quem é quem, né? Eu acho que qualquer atleta quando entra ali dentro, entra bem preparado, esperando sempre algo do adversário.
Yeah, you know, that's just part of the fight game, you know. I talk to Henderson a lot, and like he said, even a parrot can talk. So, you know, every time you go in there, you got to be prepared, and I showed what I could do.
And there's been a little talk that the next guy to face you could be H.E.A.T Mendes. Is that who you think is next for you? And if so, what do you think of fighting him?
Eu já ouvi uma fofoca que o próximo adversário vai ser o H.E.A.T Mendes. Se isso é verdade, o que tu acha dessa luta?
Ainda não sei, né? Eu acho que eu sou um funcionário, quem o patrão colocar, eu tenho que passar por cima. Então, não sei ainda quem vai ser. Agora eu quero descansar pelo menos uma semaninha aí e depois voltar ao treinamento. E se for o H.E.A.T, ótima luta. Eu acho que é um grande lutador, vem crescendo muito no evento. Então é isso.
Yeah, you know, to me, I'm not sure if that's the fight or not, but right now I just want to take a week off and think about it a little bit and just rest my body. But, you know, I'm here. I'm an employee. Whoever the boss standing next to me wants me to fight, that's who I've got to go and take out. So I'm prepared to fight whoever they put in front of me anytime.
Okay, just one more for Lyoto. This was your most dominant win since you beat H.E.A.T almost 2 years ago. Do you feel as though you got a bit of a monkey off your back here and now you can get into a groove again?
Com certeza. Tinha uma pressão muito grande, né, em cima de mim, porque eu vinha de 2 derrotas, então isso me incomodava bastante. Então eu pensava assim que eu ia entrar ali para mostrar o melhor Lyoto possível.
Yes, I did feel a lot of pressure because I was coming off of back-to-back losses, and you know, I was very anxious and wanted to get in there to show the best Lyoto Machida that the world has seen.
Dana down in the front here. Can you tell me what the status is, how you view Strikeforce fighters like Nick Diaz? Could you bring him over here to fight George if you wanted to? Or Do you wait until his contract is up? How does that work?
I imagine I could do whatever I wanted to do if I really wanted to, but you know, we have a contract with Showtime, and he's a Showtime fighter. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see how this whole thing works out. But that's an interesting fight. Jake said he'd like to see it.
And if I could just ask Lyoto a question. That front kick, does he come into a fight with that in his arsenal? Or did he just see that the moment was right, or did he do it by instinct? What was the thinking behind it?
Não, eu treinei o golpe bastante, mas assim, eu sabia que ia usar na hora certa, esperar o momento certo. Então na hora eu senti ele com a cabeça um pouco baixa ali, né? E aí eu disse eu vou tentar o chute agora.
No, I trained this kick a lot, and you know, I've had it in my arsenal, and I just had to wait for the right moment to pull the trigger and utilize it.
Dana, over here. I just wanted to congratulate you and tell you this was amazing. You always say this is the best experience seeing a UFC live, and it really was. I think this was better than Joe Carter's home run, so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Question. Go ahead.
It means a lot to me. We really did work hard on this thing, and we really wanted to do it right here. So thank you.
Question for Ben. Did Mark Bocek come close with any of those submission attempts, especially at the end of the second round?
No. To be honest, no.
Thanks.
My question is for Lyoto. Lyoto, over here, heading into this fight, you come off 2 losses. Did you make any changes in camp? And if so, what were they? Were there any new trainers, nutritionists, anyone like that to help you make adjustments?
Não, assim, o treino foi basicamente o mesmo, né, o treinamento. Mas a gente contratou mais profissionais, porque a gente queria mais rendimento e contratamos mais profissionais de outras áreas também, né? Fisiologista, nutricionista, vários profissionais.
I mean, the training was pretty much the same, but we did hire some different people to add on to our team. We brought in a nutritionalist, a different coach to help out in different areas. So the training was pretty much the same, but I did adapt and make some changes to it.
Can you say, like, what areas did he work on in particular?
Assim, eu na preparação física eu dei muita intensidade, né, e também no karatê, assim, eu procurei treinar muito o meu karatê, né.
I trained a lot. What the main changes were to my strength and conditioning. I made a lot of changes there, and also to my karate. I went back and trained a lot of karate that brought me to where I am today.
Boa noite, José Aldo, Lyoto. Nós estamos ao vivo aqui no Sensei Sport TV. José Aldo, deu pra ver que antes da luta você ainda estava naquela situação de não ser muito conhecido do público do UFC. Seria uma luta para apresentar você ao público do UFC. Foi o que você esperava? Muita gente falava que seria talvez nocaute, acabou não sendo, foi mais dura do que você esperava?
The question is that you know, you've never really fought in the UFC, and a lot of people were saying that this was like your introduction into the world of MMA because you weren't as known as some of the other fighters on the card. And then, you know, people were expecting a knockout or a finish, and you went 5 rounds. Was this fight much tougher than you expected?
Como te falei, o Mark é um grande lutador, então eu esperava uma guerra mesmo. Eu sabia que eu tinha condições de nocautear ele, eu acho que eu acertei bons golpes nele, onde ele sentiu, mas não consegui definir a luta ali e vim preparado para fazer os 5 rounds.
Like I said before, Mark Hominick is a super tough fighter, and I expected that. as you saw, I landed some good punches. I knocked him down quite a few times in the fight, but I just wasn't able to finish.
Lyoto, não tem como não fazer uma relação do nocaute que você fez no Randy Couture com o chute do Henderson no Vitor Belfort. Você vê essa relação também? Tem dedo do Steven Seagal aí?
You know, there was a lot of similarities to the kick that you did against Randy Couture, to the kick that Anderson did to Vitor Belfort. Is there any influence from Steven Seagal on that?
Olha, assim, a técnica a gente já conhecia, né? Já treinava essa técnica antes, mas muitas vezes não colocava em prática ou estava adormecido. Então, com certeza, o Steven Seagal, ele frisou bastante isso. Lyoto usa essa técnica, chute frontal, ele entra. E aí foi o que aconteceu.
The technique itself, I've known for, we've both known for a long time. But I definitely think that Steven Seagal being involved and influencing us and helping us perfect the kick definitely made a difference.
Dana, José Aldo and Lyoto can be in the card of the UFC in Brazil?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know yet. I don't know. That's a curveball for me right now. I think we're looking at Jose possibly fighting in Philly.
Some questions for you down here to your left.
Hey.
George went to the hospital, but how much of a chance did you get to talk to him? He mentioned he was a little disappointed after the fight. What kind of sense did you get from him?
Yeah, I didn't talk to him at all. I was out there for a long time. That's why it took me so long to get it over here. And by the time I got backstage, he was already at the hospital.
What's next for him? I mean, obviously there's that fantasy fight out there. Are we closer to that, or at least him moving up in weight? Do you feel that he's kind of exhausted his challenges in 170?
I don't know. I don't think there's not really such thing as exhausting a challenge. There's always going to be new guys coming up and new challenges if he stayed at 170. And again, like somebody said earlier, there's Nick Diaz too. I got to talk to him, see what he wants to do. I literally didn't say 2 words to him. I said good fight. That's it.
He's a guy who obviously cares about his legacy, and you come from a background in boxing, and in boxing, of course, guys are always moving up in weight to prove, that's a tougher challenge. So are you kind of on board with that? Is that what you would like to see him? I mean, it's obviously his call, but...
What I do is I don't like when guys want to fight in 2 different weight divisions at the same time and do all this stuff. I believe in guys, what I consider cleaning out of a division. You've defended your title so many times, and then you want to move up. Yeah, he would be a guy that would be in that position right now.
And then real quickly, the score of the fight, did you agree that Jake won a couple rounds, or were you surprised that it was that close?
Jesus Christ. Me and Chuck Liddell were talking about it, and it was a tough one to score. Chuck gave Jake the third or the fourth, the one where George St. Pierre kicked him to the head, and then he did the single leg. Chuck gave him that round, and I was like, I don't know, they might not have given it to him because of the knockdown. It was tough to score. I don't know, I didn't really score it. I mean, at the end, I had thought George St. Pierre won the fight. I didn't have any rounds or anything like that. Hadn't really scored it.
Dana? To your right, Dana?
Yeah.
Did Mark Hominick need any extra medical attention once he was done? Did he go to hospital?
Oh, I'm sure he did. I don't know if that's on here, but I would have to imagine so. If we sent him home looking like that, we should never be able to put on a fight again. I am so ready to wrap this up. How many more questions do we have? Another one over here? We'll get a couple more here.
Maybe on your right.
Yeah.
On your left, Dana,
Okay.
right here.
Yep.
Base from XM Satellite Radio.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. 2 questions. First, for you, this event obviously being the milestone of the UFC, what would be your next objective to take the brand to one step even higher than this?
Somebody always asks me that after a huge event. I don't know. We did our first stadium show. I don't know. After you do a stadium with 55,000 people, you've pretty much pulled off everything. Sold out arenas, broke records, went to a stadium and sold it out. What our focus is and our goals are is to keep building the sport, taking it to all these different countries. Still got to get New York sanctioned. There's still a lot of work to do, but this is when you talk about how many people you can put in a place. I mean, obviously, if we did Dallas, Texas Stadium and we sold that out, it's a little bit bigger. But this is pretty big.
What about Japan, Tokyo, though?
I'm not too crazy about going to Japan right now, but
I know, with the natural disasters and all.
But there's obviously a lot of cool arenas around the world that we could go to. So.
Next question would be for Mr. Machida. Obviously fighting Randy Couture for the last fight of his life. You going into the fight to win, that's just natural. But any disappointment about putting Randy Couture into retirement that early into the fight?
Assim, lógico que eu queria a vitória de qualquer jeito, né? Então, mas assim, fiquei feliz por um lado de ter conseguido o meu objetivo maior, mas assim, fiquei sentido porque a gente sabe que é um lutador profissional, né? Não queria que acontecesse nada de grave com ele.
You know, I came here to win the fight, and that was what my goal was. My main objective was to come in here, put on a good performance, and win. But as a professional athlete and caring about other professional athletes, you know, I definitely didn't want to make sure that he wasn't hurt and nothing very serious happened to him.
First question is for Vladdy. Vladdy, can you talk to us about the performance? Obviously, you wanted to get a win, but it was such a fast win. Can you just talk to us about the knockout?
Yeah, I want to win by knockout for a long time now, and this time maybe I overdid it a little bit. It was too quick, but it's always next time, and I just want to prove that I'm capable not just ground and pound and be on the ground, but also capable of knockouts.
And I know he already got a matchup for Philadelphia, but are you still hoping to fight Rogerio Nogueira next?
Yeah, definitely, because you know, I don't like to carry a loss on my shoulders, and I always looking to, you know, square up with the guys who beat me before.
And a question for Dana. You said maybe Jose Aldo in Philadelphia. Is Chad Mendes the guy?
Probably. He and I haven't talked yet. Talked to him, talked to Ed. You know, Kenny Florian couldn't be ready by then. Chad Mendes is 10-0. Undefeated, makes sense.
And one quick question for Jake. Since you've been sitting up there, you've been pushing already for, you know, your teammate Nick Diaz to get that fight. How much would you like to see that? And I mean, obviously, you guys are like a family. So is that kind of your goal now? Would you like to see Nick get that fight with GSP?
Yeah, of course I'd love to see Nick get it. You know, he's one of my best friends. I think he has a good shot. I think his style matches up really good. His pressure boxing could hopefully, you know, do what I couldn't and cut him off and put more pressure on him. So, you know, we don't know what happens till we see it. That's why I'd like to see it.
I'll tell you what, I was there live for that last fight. I was blown away by Nick Diaz's last fight. He looked incredible, you know, so interesting.
Thank you. Tenho uma pergunta for Lyoto. I have a question for Lyoto. Eu sei que você e Vlad treinaram juntos nos dias passados. I know that you and Vlad trained together in the past. O que você pensa sobre o knockout esta noite? What do you think of his knockout tonight e a carreira dele? What do you think of his career as well?
Não entendeu, não? Você treinou bom tempo com ele?
What happened?
Não, eu acho que o Vladimir eu conheço muito bem, é um grande amigo meu e treinou junto durante um bom tempo, um ano. E, poxa, eu achei que o Vladimir é um cara muito duro, eu sempre falei isso, é um cara que é muito forte. E hoje ele me surpreendeu, porque ele nocauteou o cara e um cara que vem do wrestling, né?
You know, I've known Vladimir for a long time, and we kind of came up in the sport together, and we trained a long time for each other. And I've always known he was very strong and a very good fighter, and but he did surprise me today. But it just proved to everybody, you know, what I already knew, that he's a good, strong fighter.
And Dean, a quick one for you. With Rory McDonald's takedowns and everything, you could see the crowd was really into it. Is there ever going to be the possibility of a takedown bonus, like some throw dough or something, you know what I mean? Because it's very crowd pleasing, and yet, you know, there's no sort of, you know, reward for that.
Right. You know, people are always asking me if there's going to be all these different other kinds of incentives. Throw dough is interesting, but you know, I think I'm going to stick with fight of the night and knockout and submission.
My question is for Dana. Dana, here, Fernando Navarro, H.E.A.T TV.
Hello.
With this impressive victory, Lyoto is once again a top contender of his category.
Yes. No. Yeah, he is.
Maybe next fights for a title shot, or still early?
I wouldn't say with one fight over Randy he's in line for a title shot, but he's definitely one of the top guys in that weight division. Yeah. There are some interesting fights for him.
And it makes sense, a third fight against Shogun?
Possibly. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Zena. Anderson Silva already said that he would go down to a catch weight, and GSP says that he won't get out of 170. What does it take to convince GSP to accept the super fight?
When did they say that? I mean, they say I've never talked to them.
Anderson said he would accept to do a catch weight fight, and GSP says he won't get out of 170.
I don't believe it. We'll see what happens. The fight. Here's the thing. Let me reiterate this. This is a dream fight. There's never been any talks about it. And yes, maybe the media might say this. The media might ask guys questions. They're not going to say anything. We haven't sat down and honestly talked about this ever. So until we're in a position where, you know, we think, all right, maybe we could do this fight. What do you guys think? It's not even a reality yet. So I think that we would figure out some kind of a catch weight where those guys could meet, or maybe GSP goes to 85. Who knows what happens? We'll see. We'll see what happens after tonight.
We'll take one more question.
Yeah, one more.
Just for Lyoto, please. Obviously, I mean, you were kind of in the motion of your victory, but I was wondering if you kind of saw the response Randy got after he popped up from the kick, and if you thought that was cool, if you were happy for him.
Eu vi a quantidade de fãs que realmente o Randy Couture, mas é merecido, né? O cara que tudo que ele fez pelo esporte, toda a carreira dele que ele construiu. Então eu tenho uma admiração muito grande pelo trabalho dele.
Yeah, I did notice that, but I mean, it's completely well-deserved. For everything that Randy has accomplished in the sport and everything Randy has done for the sport, it's completely well-deserved.
So I want to thank all the people in Ontario that made this happen, all the people that flew in from all over the world, all of you media. There's a lot of media here tonight, all the media in Canada. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. This is a big night for us, and we really appreciate it. Have a great night and be safe. Thank you.